Good morning, everybody. GM. Welcome to Wealth Wednesday. Thanks, everybody, for helping get our peeps in the room. Exciting times, 29 days, 247 is the price. And as a reminder, you also have the VIP option. The VIP option that is $500. So anyway, what's this thing? Oh yeah, there we go. Expired. So here we go, making the best of it. All right, today's quote of the day is don't watch the clock, do what it does. Keep going. That is the theme and has been forever. Don't quit, don't stop, don't get distracted, don't fall into the fear and the narratives around the sky is falling. The sky has been falling for centuries, for millennium. Do what it does and keep going. In case you guys missed it, on the Invest Edge, we had Gavin McCaleb last week, and this previous Monday, we had Umair Haq. So be sure to check out those on the Renatus YouTube channel, and then send them to guests too. They're there for outreach as well. Curious though, Snyder asked us on Monday for ideas that would make Invest Edge more engaging, more valuable, more useful for you guys out in the field and on the team, as well as new prospects, new guests, people that are thinking about it. But what would you want to see added or modified to the Invest Edge? And also, how many of you watch every single one versus you only watch a couple? And you're not going to hurt my feelings either way. We want to just make it better and value your guys' opinions. I tell Snyder all my stuff that I think about what to change, and he's used some and he's been patient on others, but I'm curious about what you guys think. Awesome. All right, let's go.
Good morning, Michael.
Good morning.
I have a question. I've been with Renatus for a long, long time, and I've seen, how the changes have, come along. Um, I remember them really going like focus on EPIC, okay, education, property, income, and community. And then they went to the blueprint. Wow, no, then they went to Live by Design, which that kind of, coincided. Then the blueprint, which then really to me it connected things, like Live by Design, blueprint, but now it's Invest Edge, and I don't know, it just doesn't make that connection for me in the name, but what's behind the name? Um, it just seems like it's you know, a new perspective of Renatus. I'm not saying it's, good or bad or anything. I just want to know more about what 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 the I mean I plug in, I see the Invest Edge. It's a great series. It's different from the founders webinar. Um, But yeah, tell me about Invest Edge because there's other platforms too that are called Invest Edge. So it's a bit confusing for me in that sense.
Fair enough. Yeah. The um the premise behind it is that if you come to us, you're going to have an edge. You're going to have an edge on um market interest rates, what's going up, what's going down, what methods are working, and so it's supposed to give you an edge. It's supposed to also allow, if you're on the live stream, being able to ask questions and get them answered with whoever's the guest. So that's the idea. You're going to be meeting people who are in the field, out in the market, doing deals right now. And that's supposed to give you an edge versus only having a library of content. I think, well, I have some more opinions on it, but I want to hear some more of yours. What would you like to see that would make it, mission successful?
Honestly, in the beginning, I felt like invest edge. I felt like I was at the edge and I was going to fall off this cliff. It was just the feeling that it gave me. I didn't feel like it gave me like, the finger on the pulse or like, hey, I got this kind of thing.
Okay.
I don't know, it just that one just threw me off, honestly. But now I get it. It's, having an edge, having that, you know, being at the forefront of cutting edge, you know, um, innovation and systems and processes. And I like it. I like the concept. I don't know, something about invest edge. It just, I don't know, it just doesn't ring a bell with me, but everything behind it does. So that's what matters to me, really. So thank you.
Cool. Yeah, it's I definitely don't want you to be on the edge of your seat or edge of a cliff. I want you to have the edge. They say that 90% or 90% of your profits are made in that 10% advantage that you have. And so we're trying to give you that extra 10%. So you have that leading edge against the market, right? You're competing in the real estate space, you're competing with 100 million people. So,
Yeah, I guess maybe something like investor's edge. I don't know. The invest edge, something about it. It just, but you know what? I know Bob, he thinks about everything and, you know, everything is done in its best interest. And I would never, you know, think otherwise. So yeah, thank you, Michael.
yeah, yeah, you bet. And um, criticism and critique are open and welcome, right? It's totally okay to say this sucked, I like this, change this, keep that for sure. And he just uploaded some new slides here, so I just wanted to go through these real quick. We got going on here. And usually the beginning is the same because we're helping people understand real estate. And we already know. Excuses. What else? Top 10 reasons why investors succeed. Okay. Oops. Going. Interesting. $1 million cities. All right. So they added something to the mission statement at the end, the last part. Invest wiser through educational strategies designed to pay for themselves. I mean, we said that all the time. We showed people, hey, look, you just do velocity banking. If you do nothing else but velocity banking, you're still going to make all of your money back plus some. Or if you only do the tax strategies, or if you only get, 5 sales, 5 referrals, you only, fix and flip one deal or wholesale a couple, it'll pay for itself. But now it's just part of the mission statement, designed to pay for itself. Property tours, cash flow games, Look at this. Huh. I almost died on that trip. Story for another day. Regionals, nationals. That's a nice looking chart there. All these beautiful people. Wow. Yeah, I like the last half of these slides. Congrats to Linda. She made almost $1 million last year. Would you look at that? Okay. A few more of these. Okay, so what do you get if you join today? 43 instructors, 500 hours, self-directed path, English, Spanish, award-winning workbooks, learning management system, learning paths, nationwide network, updated classes for free, in-person, VIP early access, learning partner, real estate document, 6 months of iOS, 6 months of unlimited coaching, weekly group coaching, complimentary lifetime access. Dang. Get in the game. So there you go. Please modify these slides to your liking. I'm going to drop the link in our chat real quick. There we go. Okay, so you can also download it from your Helios back office like I just did. They just updated that about 3 weeks ago. But you can click that link and that'll take you there as well. Okay, let's build some habits and then get into some training. So habits, we are here to build the habit of self-confidence. One of the biggest game changers, one of the things that allows people to go with the right education to turn it into action. There are plenty of people who've turned it into action and are running circles, running laps around highly educated people that aren't confident. So how do we build our confidence? Successful repetition, going for it, and autosuggestion or self-hypnosis. So here's the formula that works. If you have it memorized already, good for you. If not, by the time I see you at E3, I want you to have this memorized. It's five paragraphs. You could do it. And each paragraph is like a sentence. Anyway, here we go. First, I know I have the ability to achieve the object of my definite purpose in life. Therefore, I demand of myself continuous action towards its attainment, and I here now promise to render such action. Second, I understand that the dominating thoughts of my mind will eventually reproduce themselves in outward physical action and gradually transform themselves into physical reality. Therefore, I will concentrate my thoughts for 30 minutes daily upon the task of thinking of the person I intend to become, thereby creating in my mind a clear mental picture of that person. Third, I know through the principle of autosuggestion that any desire I persistently hold in my mind will eventually seek expression through some practical means of attaining the object or position I desire. Therefore, I will devote 10 minutes daily to demanding of myself the development of self-confidence. Fourth, I've clearly written down a description of my definite chief aim, and I will always work until I develop sufficient self-confidence for its attainment. Fifth, I fully realize that wealth or position can long endure when built upon truth and justice. I will only engage in transactions that will benefit all whom it affects. I will succeed by attracting to myself the forces I wish to use and the cooperation of other people. I will induce others to serve me because of my willingness to serve them. I've eliminated hatred, envy, selfishness, jealousy, cynicism, and I've developed a love for all of humanity. For I know that a positive attitude towards others will always bring me success. I will cause others to believe in me because I believe in them and in myself. I will sign my name to this formula, commit it to memory, and repeat it aloud once a day in full faith that it will gradually influence my thoughts and actions so I will become a self-reliant and successful person. Beautiful. Making a difference. All right. Initiative and leadership. Having chosen a definite chief aim as my life's work, I now understand it to be my duty to transform this purpose into reality. Therefore, I will form the habit of taking some definite action each day that will carry me one step near the attainment of my definite chief aim. I know that procrastination is a deadly enemy of all who would become leaders in any undertaking, and I will eliminate this habit from my makeup by A, doing some one definite thing each day that ought to be done without anyone telling me to do it. B, looking around until I find at least one thing I can do each day that I've not been in the habit of doing and that will be of value to others without expectation of pay. C, telling at least one other person each day of the value of practicing this habit of doing something that ought to be done without being told to do it. I can see that the muscles of the body become strong in proportion to the extent to which they are used. Therefore, I understand that the habit of initiative also becomes fixed in proportion to the extent that it is practiced. I realize that the place to begin developing the habit of initiative is in the small, commonplace things connected with my daily work. Therefore, I will go at my work each day as if I were doing it solely for the purpose of developing this necessary habit of initiative. I understand that by practicing this habit and taking the initiative in connection with my daily work, I will be not only developing the habit, but I will also be attracting the attention of those who will place greater value on my services as a result of this practice. GM. Good morning to that. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, Mehilani's got a quick question explaining how the top 10 ICMs are calculated. Does the in-house billing payment plan count as a full package? No, it does not. Only what is paid to you is going into that top 10 list. What hits your bank account, what's been released to you, or is on its way to you, that's what's added in. So cool. Yeah, congrats to you guys. Shirley and Celeste and JL and Lorraine and Steve, good morning. Joe and Emily, Jasmine and Claudia, great to see you all. Corey and Kelvin and Pat, Tanya and Doug and Heidi, Vivian, and Tamara's here. Doug, wouldn't have a call without Doug. Ada, Carla, and the star of the hour, Mr. Daine Clark. Cool. I got a question. Tamara's got a question. We're working on some deals. But for those of you who don't know Daine, he is the man with the plan. This guy has a clear vision of where he's going with his business, with his family, with his life. And he wants to bring as many people along for the ride, as long as they're doing honest, legal, ethical real estate investing, working on themselves, and applying the knowledge that he shares. You too can have the benefits of a program like this. He started out nearly 10 years ago with a goal of making 10 real estate deals happen in his life. In 10 years, if he could have 10 deals, everything would be worth it. All the struggle, all the debt, all the sacrifice would be worth it. In his first year, he got his first deal and he paid off all of his consumer debt. Things started to turn around for him. And he started doing more and more and more to where now he's doing a deal a month, not a deal a year. And in some months, he's doing a deal a week. And heck, sometimes we check in with him and he's doing 2, 3, or 4 deals in a week. He's not working 70 hours a week. He's not breaking his brain. In fact, he's getting stronger, developing relationships, learning more, expanding, and doing his real estate part-time, but with full-time results. And that's because he uses a system and his education, he uses his network. And he's a great example of what it's like to turn everything around, create abundance, and pour it into the network and community around him. So always in action, always solving problems and making the American dream come true for people. So let's give a big warm welcome to the man of the hour, Mr. Daine Clark.
Good morning, everybody. GM, super
Yes,
excited
sir. GM.
as always. And yeah, I hope you had a great week, good conversations, very productive relationship building, because all wealth is built through conversations and building relationships. I hope you got stories because I know I do.
Yeah.
Did I tell you guys last week I I foreclosed on a house and they stole the kitchen.
Yep. Yep.
So I've got the update. All the
Okay.
conversations around that one.
Yeah. Let us know
Real quick.
how did you mitigate that, and what would you advise people in the future?
Um, I wasn't allowed to change the locks before, and so I mean, I do have photos of before and then photos after, and um, in fact, let's see, somebody just sent me a photo today on this, like literally minutes ago. If I go like this, can everybody see the photo? Oh, I think you have to click on it. Let's see.
Potential security issue.
So this kitchen was done. I guess, yeah, sorry, you guys. I guess you got to click on it. I guess I can share my screen. Um, let's
So do
see.
you sue them for the cost of fixing it and all the
I
labor and material?
could. I could, yes. However, I would think that that is throwing good money after bad because I don't think they have the money. If you're stealing a kitchen, you don't have money.
Could
Um,
you force them to give it back?
if they have it, but to have basically you could have the court force them to do something like that. It would take months, maybe even years, depending on how good of an attorney they have to fight it, which, they might not even have money for an attorney, but regardless, they would be issued one. And so they would fight it and rack the bill up. And so, yeah, maybe I could get it back. But here's what we did. In fact, here, I'll share my screen. And let's see. Let's do this. All right, so here's the deal. Um, and a couple of things. I'm basically when I have people land alongside me, my partners, if you will. Um, I I tell them like, hey, I'm going to see to it. And it's funny because when I'm raising money, I actually call it the Dane takes care of it clause. And so I tell them like, hey, if anything does not go to plan, if we have to execute plan B, C, D, whatever, um, eventually down the line, I just call it the Dane takes care of it clause, where like, hey guys, I'm going to see to it that we still get our money back and make our 10% interest. And so all my partners, um, the amount owed to everybody was dollar amount, myself included, in that trust deed. In fact, when we sent to auction, this was the opening bid, 497 and change, and I just rounded it. Um, and so this represents basically paying off all my partners as well as me still making like $70,000 in off of the deal. And so making money on that front, but also um, had some conversations and found a gentleman who was like, hey, I need a house. I'd like to buy it on seller financing. And so we were actually having this conversation before my foreclosure auction. And and he knew that there was kitchens in there because he had walked through the property himself. And so he was like, yeah, yeah, I'll buy it if it doesn't close at auction. Um, doesn't close at auction. And then like I told you guys yesterday, we walked through, it was like, oh, kitchens are gone. And last week, did I say the granite was still there? I think I did. They left the granite. They broke the doors and stole the granite that night. So I guess that would have been Wednesday morning, um, that I was talking
Dirty
to you guys.
thieves.
And right after this call, Wednesday last week, I found out that because we changed the locks and they broke in again, stole the granite. I was like, oh, you freaking kidding me. Anyway, so the guy that wanted to buy it, he's like, "Hey, I got contractors, I got stuff. Don't worry." He's like, "I'll still buy it." And I said, "Cool." So I discounted it a little bit for him, sold it to him on seller financing. Um, and so here's how it's going to turn out. So I sold it to him for 497, basically exactly what I paid for it. Um, And so I'm still making my money, if you will, on the hard money loan. Like I'm still making $70,000 to sell it for 497, no realtors, no any of that kind of stuff. And and so um at the end of the day, I figured, okay, what if this appraises for 600,000? Because he's doing the kitchens right now. In fact, that's what that photo was. That he's torn out um, all the drywall, and he's gonna fix up the kitchen. And so he's already working on it. And he's living there with a microwave on the floor, and he's using the bathroom sink for water. So die hard, good man. You never have a tenant do stuff like that, or be willing to do stuff like that. But he moved in. I did give him until November until his first payment. But anyway, so I figured, hey, even if this only appraises for 600, and I've got some a hunch that it'll probably be like 630-ish. But still, I ran it super conservative. Let's say that he finishes that. I go get a loan for 450,000, 75%, because I have $76,000 of equity already in the 497, if you will. If I go refinance 450, I will pay myself, if you will. I pay myself out. Plus all of the, here's my loan costs. Basically, I'm figuring about $18,000 in all my loan costs, plus monthly payments that he's gonna start making immediately. I will literally break even. So I'll get all my $70,000 back, earned, if you will. And so this will be like, basically I'll be no money in this deal. I'll get all my money back. All my partners get all their money back. As if I made, and technically it's as if I made my 76,000. So technically I'm making money. But whatever. And then cash flowing $1,200 a month. Seller finance. So I'm not a landlord. And yeah. And with a tenant that's like willing to make this house nicer than it was. I shouldn't say tenant, with a client, with a seller, or sorry, with a seller finance buyer that's willing to, like, hey, I'll put money in this, make it nice. And if you guys see that photo, like, everything else is done. Like look, you can see all the new lighting, the new floors, new windows. I mean, this place was completely done. They just kifed all the kitchens out of it. But yeah, so here's where we're looking. And potentially here, let's change this out. If, let's say it does appraise for, like, let's just do 625. If it does appraise for 625, I'll basically cash out an extra $20,000 on top of the rest, if you will. And so, I'm not too sad about this one. Oh well. But making lemonade. Go ahead, questions. And then I think we have other people who have questions too.
So that's, I think, an important principle is recognizing when to sue or try to reclaim the money versus
Yeah,
it's the cost of doing business, and damn it, we didn't want it, but stay focused on the mission.
yeah, because throwing money, I think that's the phrase, throwing good money after bad. Like,
Yeah.
sure, I could probably make them pay. Maybe not like literally pay, or maybe I could probably put a judgment on them or something like that, and get paid down the road. But still, it would take months and months and months. Attorneys going to court, back and forth, and I'm just like, you know what? I'm learning through a lot of people in my circle that these people have screwed a handful of people, and so like they're already getting what's coming to them. I don't think there's any money to go around. There's no money to chase with these guys. And so I just said, you know what? Go away. Where this guy said that he's willing to move in immediately, because he saw, he knew that people were coming. He's like, I'll move in immediately, so that way it deters people from coming
Right.
again. Like, I'm just like, you know what? I'm already making my money. I don't need to go chase somebody else. Oh well.
That's smart, and, learning that on this call versus having to spend a year of your life going through it the hard way. Sometimes, folks, it's not the it's the principle of the thing. Sure, you don't want to be taken advantage of, and obviously, if it happens two or three times and there's a pattern, something else will change. But trying to sue someone for a couple $1,000.
Yeah. Like if I look at it, I basically bought this house. Like if I reduce my own earnings, if you will, it's as if I bought this house for like 430,000, sold it for 500,000, but it appraises for 600,000. And so I'm just like, I'm not, I'm still making my money.
Right. So learn the lesson, but don't waste your time.
Yeah. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else we could have done to prevent that. And I don't think they're
I mean,
because
yeah, you were there
they
same day
they were still
changing
on title.
locks.
They still had the key because they still own the house. And then first thing Monday morning when we officially foreclosed, and that's when we were able to, that's when we're allowed to go get in. It was already gone. The cabinets were already gone, at least not the granite. And so we changed the locks and we were going to put cameras, but it's like how I didn't have cameras like on hand to just like put them up, which I guess maybe there's a lesson to be learned is just have a camera ready to go, even if it's like a trail camera, just
Yep.
have a camera ready to go just in
And a
case you have to worry.
little sign that says, smile, you're on camera.
Yeah. Yeah. In fact, maybe we could have just done that. I actually do have those kind of things on hand, those signs that say smile, you're on camera.
And
Uh,
Deborah said, get a couple Rottweilers and you won't have any issues.
there you go.
You'll have some five
Exactly.
pound turds in the front yard, but other than that,
Yeah. Exactly.
So
But
Dane,
go ahead.
um, yes. So this one you actually teens, have the title under their names, right? Because you normally do the contract for deed, and so what made you decide to put that on their names when you bought it, or when they
So
bought it?
I'm still technically on title, but
Oh, you
I'm
are still entitled.
yeah,
Okay,
but I'm
okay.
satisfied. Oh, so what we did was a hybrid. In fact, this is like my signature move. We did a hybrid where right now it's technically a lease option with a commitment, aka Repsy, to seller finance it. Because I told him like, hey, I can't refinance my partners out as is. We're gonna have to fix the kitchens up, and then I can refinance it. And so I said, we'll do my hybrid signature lease option. You fix the kitchen. As soon as you're done, send me a photo. I'll get my refinance going on it. I'll refinance all my partners out, and we'll get this on long term 30-year note, and then we'll sit down and do a contract for deed.
Okay, but that's for this one. But I'm talking about the one that you foreclosed on, the one that stole
Yeah.
the cabinets.
Yeah, this one. That's this one that stole the cabinets.
Right, but it's not the same people. The one that's fixing it, that's your
Oh, no,
new
no,
one.
no.
Right.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So,
Yeah. New client. Yeah, the old clients, they're gone. They're off title. Like, because they were
correct.
on title.
They were entitled. So that
Because
that was
this
my
was
question. Why,
these guys
what
were
made
flipping
you,
this house.
huh?
And so it was a hard money loan. I was
Oh,
lending money for these guys to flip the house,
oh, I see.
and they never finished it. And so I told them like, guys, finish it or I have to foreclose. And I said, tell you what, make a monthly payment. And if you make a monthly payment, then I won't start foreclosure. And then the two partners were like, okay, well, you got to make the payment. And the other partner's like, no, you got to make the payment. And so eventually they just stopped making the payment. So I started foreclosure. And honestly, this house only needed like um, counters in the bathroom. And I forget what it was with the garage. I mean, we're talking less than $5,000 of stuff to finish it. But the two partners just became, and these guys are not Renatus students, you know,
Mm. That's good. That's good to know.
yeah, like neither of them are. But they became like, oh, and you got to finish the house with your money because you owe me money, and the other part's like, no, you got to finish the house with your money because you owe me, and so they just never finished the house. So I was like, there's less than five guys, there's less than $5,000 to finish the dang thing,
Oh, wow. That's
finish it and
crazy.
sell it, and everyone makes money, but nobody could get over their egos. And and so I just said, all right, guys, you guys keep squabbling back and forth. I will just tell you every step of the foreclosure process, how much time you have to figure yourselves out. And so I said, okay, like, hey, I filed a notice of default. This means we have 90 days. And then same thing, they'd squabble back and forth. And then 90 days later, like, hey, no, notice the default has seasoned. I'm allowed to schedule a foreclosure sale. The foreclosure sale is scheduled for the September 15th. So are you going to figure stuff out? And still just squabbling back and forth. And so they just kept squabbling back and forth until I was like, hey, here's your time frame. I'm foreclosing. I don't have to foreclose. You know, you guys figure it out. Like I kept telling them, if you guys finish the house and list it, I'll stop the foreclosure. And 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 the one partner was like, okay, yeah, we'll finish it in 2 weeks. I said, all right, I'm watching. I'm not stopping the foreclosure until you show me. But they kept saying, oh yeah, we'll be 2 weeks. And then 2 weeks later, like, hey, we're like a little closer to the foreclosure. Oh yeah, we're gonna finish it in 2 weeks. Okay, yeah, we're still a little closer to the foreclosure. Let me know when it's done. And it just
Wow.
never got done. And so
Dude,
That's
you are so
crazy.
kind. You are so kind and
Yeah,
generous. Holy moly.
absolutely.
I told him every step of the way and told him
There's
all
no
the time
banks will tell you
frames.
that.
What's that?
There's no banks will tell tell you that. Yeah, they'll
Oh
send you a
no.
notice, but they'll never call you and tell
Yeah,
you.
like I talked to them probably almost weekly,
Mm.
if not every other weekly.
Yeah,
And so,
because you really don't want to foreclose and
no, I
all
don't
that
want
if you
to.
can help it, right?
Like I said, I can count on two fingers how many deals I've foreclosed on in the last 377 deals. And because I choose to be, I like to say, in fact, we just heard this from uh, recent events. If we stop talking, bad things happen. If we continue to talk, we can figure stuff out. But they wouldn't. They wouldn't, or when they did talk, it was always just like, yeah, we'll finish in 2 weeks. Like, great. I will believe it when I see it. Like, I'm not going to stop the foreclosure just because you said that. But anyway, but yeah, I mean, I extended as much grace as I humanly possibly could have. And
Yep.
and they never did a dang thing. And so anyway, cool. So
Deborah's got,
that's
go
how
ahead,
that one
Deborah.
turned out.
Yeah.
Crazy. $1,200 a month cash flow
Nice.
and
Did he even
nobody.
show up in court like during like hearings and stuff, or did they probably didn't even show up?
Yeah,
So,
it's a non-judicial foreclosure.
oh, okay, yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So yeah, so no nobody had to show up to anything.
All right. Yeah, okay.
But crazy. In
Deborah.
fact, this was actually a kind of a cool story that this could come up. I feel like this has come up a couple times in my life, or I should say in my real estate career. So one of the partners was a little more willing to talk to me. Um, and he and I actually were discussing potentially him buying my trust deed from me because I told him I was like, dude, like, I would consider that even today I still consider this person a friend because like I said, he was willing to talk to me, but he's just like he's like I can't bring myself to do it because they benefit too, and so he's like I would rather it go to foreclosure and Daine basically Daine you take it and profit off it than me helping them. And so I was just like, okay, whatever. Anyway, so we were talking. He's like, you know what? Maybe what I do is I buy it from you, your trust deed, because I own a trust deed, not the house. He owns the house. And I said, and I was like, dude, buy the trust deed from me. You foreclose, like use my attorney even. And in fact, I even told him because I think I've shared with you guys that I do a unique trust. And so like the trust name is like 123 Main Street Trust. I was like, dude, just buy out my beneficial interest in the trust. I will stay on as the trustee, which is a non-paid position in my setup. Um, and so I'll stay on as trustee. So I basically will continue my own foreclosure for you. But now you are the beneficiary. And so if this house forecloses, then you own the house and you kick the partner out. And and he was trying to do it. I just don't think he could quite raise the money. But that would have been awesome for him because he basically would have then owned the house free and clear, and his partner would have been gone. And I think they had like other liens or something like that, 5 other liens. So this house had like a second position, third position, fourth position, fifth position, whatever, and so on. And so at the end of the day, uh, all of those people got wiped off, gone, including that partner. Um, so yeah, so he could have just bought out my beneficial interest and continued my own foreclosure, and then he owned it. But like I said, he didn't do it. Which I was like, hey, this is like a good idea for if in situations like this, buy the note instead of the house, because oftentimes if you just take deed, like for example, if he could have gotten his partner to just deed it to him and say, hey, you know what, I'll give you cash for keys, whatever, he would have inherited all of those liens from the second, third, fourth, fifth. But if he bought my note and then foreclosed, basically used my own foreclosure progress, wiped all the liens off like I did. And so yeah,
Genius.
I mean, I wiped off like probably 5 or 6 liens.
Genius, folks. That right there could save you a year of headaches just understanding that detail.
So
Incredible.
anyway, but yeah, it was a great idea. But like I said, I ended up being the one who owned the house, and I wiped all the liens off.
Nice.
No, I told
Problem
him.
solving.
So Steve says he was probably afraid of those liens. Like, no, I told him, like, if you buy my lien, I'm first position. If I foreclose, everybody gets wiped off clean, gone, zero, zilch, free and clear. Even the mechanics liens get wiped off, gone. And so he was very aware, like, and that was partially why he was like, oh, I think I'm gonna try and do this. Because he liked the sound of that to just get rid of everybody. But yeah, big mess.
Okay, Deborah,
Not
go ahead.
Renatus students though, and
That's the
and
key.
I can tell.
So, big question. How I'm trying to wrap my head around this too, is because I've heard this a few times. How does a project get so many liens and people not raise flags, especially when it comes to our community?
Um, no title insurance. And not like title insurance itself. Yeah, it's important, but I would say no title report, because there's two different things there. Like title report and title insurance. Like title reports gives you the same information. The insurance just ensures that the title report is true. Um, and so in fact, somebody's texting me right now. This person is a Renatus student, and he's like, "Hey, we got this really, really good deal. It's going to foreclosure auction on Monday. We want to buy it." And I said, "Have you pulled title? Because if you buy it before the auction and subject to, like if you take deed subject to, where she just like, here you go, deed, you catch up, let's see, what he just texted me this morning, $54,620 in arrears to catch the mortgage up, and they want to buy it subject to and keep, because I think the mortgage rate is like 2 or 3%. And I just said, don't. Have you pulled a title report? Because let's say you take it subject to, and they're like, oh, well, the loan balance is only 200,000. This house is worth 500. And so we're going to buy it subject to. Yeah, there could be $300,000 of liens on this house. And if you take them as an owner, you inherit the liens too. The first position and the second position and the who knows third, but this person's going through foreclosure. They might have other judgments. They might they're going through foreclosure. Their life is a mess. And so potentially there's more mess attached to this house. And so I told him, he's like, yeah, we got to, the seller wants us to pay the 54,000 on like Friday. So that way we secure that the bank doesn't foreclose, and then we'll just officially buy it next week. And I said, no, 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 no. You wait for that title report. And so to answer Tim's question, like that's where people go wrong, is they don't pull, if somebody's lending money, like I guarantee all of these people, the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, however many, they had no idea about anybody else, including probably me. They probably had zero idea that that there was all these liens because they didn't take the time to get an actual title report and find out what else is going on. And
The
because
thing beyond that,
if they did, they'd
the
have been like,
investor
no, I'm not
themselves,
touching this. Sorry, what's that, Tim?
and the thing beyond that too is that the investors themselves, what are they doing to to do that to other people?
Yeah.
That's a pretty
You know,
crazy.
I do see
uh,
this, and I have even seen this technically in the Renatus community, and it usually never starts intentionally. It's always a um, it's always a scramble because we were over budget, we ran out of money. It's a scramble, you know. So like basically probably the very situation that I just foreclosed on, where they're like, yeah, all we need is $5,000 more, give or take, to finish the house, but they don't have the money because they probably mismanaged the project, caused it to go way over budget. They didn't have official bids and estimates and hold their subs and contractors to those dollar amounts. So all of a sudden the budget is going over anticipation, basically more money than they raised. They need more money because of poor contracting management, I should say, poor project management. And so they're like, crap, well, in order to save this house, I need more money. And most of the time, if things are bad, you know, they're probably not talking to all their partners, like myself included. Like they're probably not talking to all their lenders. And so they go talk to some new person, like, and they can sell it like, look at this great deal if you just give us 30, you know, because if I here, I bet you I could pull the title report here in just a moment. If you guys want to see it, I'm more than happy to share it as well. But let's see. Oh, let's see.
well, and I think the other thing on top of that too is that there's a little bit of fake it till you make it kind of a feeling that
Yeah.
I think some people have to have, that it takes humility to go back to your investors and say, hey, this things aren't happening the way that they should or that we're hoping for, and then you end up, and so they try to obfuscate or hide the fact that they're in a tough situation. Because if you're get to the point where you're raising more funds on a project that's over budget and stuff, what are you doing to your numbers?
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing to what are you showing to people? So that's are you faking it in a way where you're not faking it, to be more like fake your way out of a project? Or yeah. And so and when I look at other people's funds, I'm thinking, man, this is money, especially when you're taking it from a regular person. It's money that they took them a long time to earn. Most likely they traded their time for dollars. And
Mm-hmm.
so when they're looking at their money, they're looking at it like, hey, this took me 10 years. It's like 10 years of my life savings that I have that I gave to you. And then you are, and you're basically presenting them a false deal. But they have a lot of hope in you. And so you as a Renault student, as well as the things, you need to realize that. Because I had this conversation with even my partner. He's like, oh, we need to raise more funds. And like yesterday, on this deal, we just need to go, and I'm like, listen, the way that these numbers are, we need to ask our people on this, like who are already on the deal, to come in and say, hey, we need a capital call. This is where we're at. We're just, we're and try to figure things out. I do not feel right in bringing in other people, because it's no, it's because, yeah, like you said, it is kind of easy where at the beginning you think things are going good. You're like, oh, well, how do we avoid a conflict with the people,
Mm-hmm.
by creating more conflict down the road? It's
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know
Looking at this. So there's my original trust deed for 374,000. Which, there you go there. So my original trust deed, 374,000, and then
Not
and
sharing.
497. Oh, you guys want to see it? You guys want to see this? Let's see. Well, I guess I better be careful, because I wonder if somebody even potentially knows these people. So yeah, maybe I better not share their names. I'll just tell you guys about it. But we looked at a title report last week. So just like last week, I scroll to the bottom of the exceptions and then work my way up. And so looking at those, let's see how many liens there are. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So 6 liens on this one house. Oh, and I think there was a contractor's lien too. Terms, certain utility, yeah, construction, registry, yeah. So 7 liens on this one house. And I'm looking at these dollar amounts like, okay, $22,000. So we bought this house in 24 June. So we're 2 years. So 24 of June, I'm like, I'm so gracious with these people. I could have foreclosed within 6 months, and I let them go longer. I tried to help. Anyway, sometimes I'm too nice. But I always watch my values, and I know where my values are at all times. And if I needed to act sooner, I definitely would have. But I gave them more time because I knew there was equity. Anyway, so here we are, like 2 years later, or sorry, 1 year later, $22,000 lien. Like, what was that? Like Tim was saying, like, what was that really about? They probably ran out of money, poor project management, and needed more. And then we have another one that's, basically in that year later mark, $30,000. And then another one a year later, $9,400. like guys, they were scrambling. And so most of the time, so to answer Tim's question as well, most of the time when I do see this kind of stuff, it's not intentional. Like they are just scrambling because they're like, we gotta figure this out. And so they go kind of raise good money after bad. When there's already problems, they were deal horny. And what was I going to say about this? Good money after bad. They sell, they fake it till they make it, promise the world like, yeah, look at all this, look at all this good stuff. But if these people had seen all the other liens associated to this, they would have been like, nope, I'm not doing that. I mean, nobody in their right mind would. And yeah, I mean, we're talking these tiny dollar amounts. Like, oh yeah, we just got to finish the bathroom. We need $9,400. We just got to finish the 2 bathroom, whatever.
Well, and here's a good question for you, Dane. If they would have come clean to you and said, "Hey, like we're stuck, we want to finish, but we can't. We need like an extra 40,000," and would you come up? Would you kind of be somebody who would come up with it? Or you kind of say, "Well, tough luck. I'm just going to
Maybe.
foreclose." Where would you be?
I'd have to look at it. Like if it put my position in jeopardy, no, I wouldn't do it. I'd just say, well, if you want me to put 40 grand into it, like I might just need to take the house and put my own 40 grand into it and finish it myself. But if there's tons of equity and I can, like in this case, I probably would have said no because I would have seen all this and said, dude, you guys are mismanaging this. Like, how do I know you're not just going to mismanage my 40,000 that I give you? And so if in fact, I've got somebody asking me this right now. In the only case that I would do this, I would tell them, go get contractors that will work in this manner. I will do the work and then get paid. Like none of the get paid first garbage. I will do the work and then get paid. And I'll tell them, hire those contractors, get estimates, submit those to me, and I will approve them, have them do the work. And even if you tell me like, oh, they want to get paid in 2 stages. I say, okay, cool. Say, I want to get paid when it's this far along and then done, but no money up front. And so they say, okay, yeah, like, let's say they're doing a kitchen. So, okay, yeah, I want to get paid as soon as the kitchen as soon as the kitchen is, all the cabinets, flooring, paint, drywall paint, all that stuff is ready for cabinets. I'd say, cool, I'll give you a check for this much money. And then you finish all the cabinets and the counters and all that, everything else basically, all the finish work, and then you'll get paid in 2 stages. And I will pay you direct, or I will pay the contractor direct. I'm not giving my money to the borrower. I would say I will pay the contractor directly. And so that's the only case that I would do this. is if I'm not giving it to the borrower, because obviously they mismanage stuff. And so who's to say they won't just mismanage it again? Like, no, tell me where to mail the check to the contractor, to the subcontractor. But
Yep. Yeah. So the answer is it depends, but still there's a pathway
yeah.
through it. And so, yeah. And so if anybody's in a situation, yes, talk to your first position lender because they have the least amount, like you said, the equity position and everything. If it looks good, they're probably the first person, the best person to reach out to. Then you got second place, and any second liens. I wouldn't have any third or fourth liens at all, like if at all possible. Gap funds, one more person, and third or fourth, you're asking, and fifth and sixth, then yes, there's a huge problem. And
yeah, like here, let's just count all the liens on this. So my payoff was, like I said, 497. And then they had a $58,000 lien. So 497 plus 58,000 plus 22,000 plus 30,000 plus, oh my gosh, they were underwater. 63,000 plus 9,400. So they were in debt. And I'm just going off of the trust deed. If all of these people's trust deed had interest, which it likely did, would have been over 700,000. I'm just calculating all the trust deeds, because the construction lien doesn't give us a dollar amount, but just the bare minimum, that's $680,000 on, if you remember, I said that this house would probably appraise for like 625. And so these people could probably go to jail for this, honestly, because they're pulling security on let's see, what's the term? Over collateralizing or something like that. Basically, they're underwater. $680,000 of debt that they pulled on a
over leveraging.
$625,000 house.
Over leveraging, I think it's
Over leveraging. There you go. Way over leveraging. And so like they could get in trouble for like Ponzi scheme type problems. And so big mess.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But because I got my own title report, and when I lent on it, I knew exactly what I was getting into. I was like, yeah, worst case scenario, I can foreclose on this and take over and basically just finish the deal out myself to the finish line to make sure that this deal produces an income. And so if you're lending money, make sure that you're in the same position. Yeah, misrepresentation. Yeah, like they could get in trouble for fraud big time on this. And so
All right,
guessing other
Deborah.
people will already be turning them in, but anyway. But yeah, sorry to take all this.
Deborah's got a question.
This was gonna be a quick one. Yeah,
No,
but who's got other stuff?
Yeah, I had a question. If you're finding, like I found a property over in South Lake Tahoe when I was up there visiting my daughter, and it's up for auction November 4th. Richard, the owner, who shows 91, but I can't find obituaries. The mother, she would be 104, but she's gone. Son had deeded the property over to his parents back in 2005. There's no mortgage on it, but they're behind almost $50,000 in taxes, and the place has been trashed.
Mm.
It's on 10,000 square feet. But would it be best to try to make an offer before it hits auction, if I can track down the son, who is only an hour and a half away in Stagecoach, Nevada, or let it go to auction?
It's the tax auction. Is that where you're?
It's a tax auction.
Okay, yeah.
So my question is, if I was able to negotiate that, the property, one or two, first either pay the existing taxes off and then just fix it up and sell it, or get the deed in my name, let it go to auction and pay and have an investor buy it, and then I would get the difference. I would get my money back and the difference plus without having to do anything. Is that possible?
I'm not a specialist in this, so let me just get that out there. But
Yeah.
so in my mind, if we kind of treat this kind of like a bank foreclosure, I like to do things before the auction because the auction becomes a wild card because you never know
Yeah.
who's going to come and bid and all that kind of stuff. And so if you can make your move before the auction, one way or another, then I mean, you basically hold more control. You hold more power. And so if you can track them down, go ahead and buy it. Well, I guess and it depends on what you want. Like, do you want to make money never even seeing this house?
Well, I have seen the house, but because I was up there, but it's been trashed. And
Um,
it's
so
on
yeah, so I guess
10,000
I
square
guess
foot
the
lot.
question is, do you want this house? Or do you
Well,
only
I
want to
mean,
make money off of
it,
it without seeing
if
it,
the
without
house
touching it?
if the house was in decent shape and whatnot, the area is selling for $600,000.
Hmm.
It's behind in taxes 50,000. There's no mortgage on it,
Hmm.
but I don't
Yeah. So
know.
so basically what you
Yeah,
could do is buy low, sell low, coming
right,
from I think Chris Albin. Just if you can contact this guy and say, hey, like it's going to auction, you'll get no money. How about I give you $10,000 and I'll basically pay the taxes myself. And so let's say I think you said 50,000 in taxes or so. So you
right.
spend 50,000 on the taxes, you spend 10,000 to him or whoever they are to that person. And so now you're in at 60,000 and you go sell it for 200,000 or 300, I mean, depending on how much work it really needs. Let's say you sell it for 200,000 or something like that to an investor that's like, yeah, I'll put the 150 or whatever it's going to take to put into this property. And so you make your money without even seeing the dang place. Um, the problem just becomes due diligence. What is there, how bad is it? Is there expensive stuff like structural or foundation or any of that kind of stuff? Or is it just cosmetic? And so that's, you run your risk there. Um,
Yeah, I
definitely
think
do
to
your due
fix it
diligence.
up would be about $200,000.
Yeah. And so,
So I mean, it's a big rehab, for
yeah,
sure.
so let's say you buy it for effectively 60 and sell it for 200 and somebody buys it from you for 200 and they put 200 and then they sell it for 600. Like everybody says thank you. Or, again, pick all your own numbers, but just to like get the point,
Uh-huh.
buy it low,
So
sell it low.
it would probably be best to, if I can negotiate with the family member. There's only one
Yeah.
son that I could find. Everybody else was deceased. Um,
Yeah.
uh, don't let it go to auction. Just pay the back taxes and
If you
just try
can,
and find an
because
investor.
then you
Yeah,
have no competition. Because
right.
at the auction, like people might come and bid and they might bid up as, maybe they bid up to 200,000.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is like if I did negotiate with the son and actually take title
Mhm.
and let it still go, not pay the taxes, and still let it go to auction, then you have overage.
If it goes to auction and the auction
Then there'd be
produces
a,
more
yeah,
than the taxes, does it go to the owner?
the taxes would, yeah, the difference would go to the owner as overages.
Okay. So
But
yeah,
then,
there you go.
but is that a foreclosure on my record? If that be the
No,
case? No.
no. Like even the foreclosure that I just did, like don't tell anybody this, but there's actually no way for me to like report that this person now has a foreclosure on the record. Shh.
Uh-huh.
So most people don't know
Okay.
that.
I was curious as to how that might work. Okay.
But
I guess
yeah, like
also.
and I'll sometimes say that, because so many people are, oh, is there going to be a foreclosure on my record? Like, yeah. But technically no, because
uh,
it like
Well,
I
there's
mean,
a record. It's your record.
yeah, with me,
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Well, you can
Okay.
actually probably report it to credit bureau, Dane,
I
because you
probably
have,
could.
yeah, you could. you
I
actually
don't know
could, but you
how.
just chose to.
I remember looking up how to do it, and the only way I could get a credit bureau to talk to me is if I had like if I was going to do like 25 uh reporting, different entity reporting, something like that. Like you basically had to have bulk. They wouldn't just do onesie twosies. And so there's probably companies out there, but I wasn't able to find anybody if I was
Well, if
just
it's a
like, hey,
company,
can I just
maybe
like put this on their report?
right. If
Uh,
they have a company, and then maybe you can do Dun and Bradstreet. They have a service for that for
hmm,
again, if it is under the company also. But if it's under the personal, they're
yeah,
not going to show it under personal.
I'll have to ask Rock and see if
Yes.
like if there's
Yeah,
a
there's a
way
way you could do
to do a
that.
onesie, a one-off report because technically I could. Although when I lend money to people, I never even collect their socials, and so I'd have to track, I'd have to go track that down too, and so yeah, probably not worth it. These guys are getting
Me
what's
neither.
coming to them. I'll tell you that. Like their justice will already be served because of the situation they're getting themselves into. There's a lot of angry people. Like, for example, all those liens that just got wiped off. Like, thankfully, they don't know who I am. And this is actually the reason I use the trust because that unique trust, they can't trace it to anything. The address that the trust is like some mail servicer that has nothing to do with me, and they have, not necessarily attorney-client privilege, but they would never find me in theory. Um, but yeah. Anyway, cool. More questions.
Question.
Good conversations today.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Um, so this is a numbers question.
I love these.
Great. Um, and I'm definitely going to be in Bob's ear about you making a class because I've spent the past 3 days scrounging through YouTube and it has not worked. So all right, so I'm at a different stage that I haven't been at, and I guess my question is, when you're offering a private lender to come in to do your deals, how do you determine what percentage of the cash flow you're going to give them if you're offering them the cash flow on a property?
And are you saying on short-term deals or on like you're saying like a 30-year, basically my signature seller finance 30-year term?
Yes.
So I just do an interest rate. And so for example, like I just, let's see, I just closed on one. What month is it? September. I just closed on one in last month, and everything, everything is settled, and so we know exactly how it all turned out. Loan to value, how much cash flow, all that kind of stuff. And so now that I'm all done, I'm going to bring in my, I just call them my capital partners or my lending partners. And so I'll bring in that lending partner, and with this particular lending partner. In fact, we went through this last week where I say like, I don't want to give you guys the number because then everybody thinks that's the number I need. Like if you get it lower than me, man, we are gonna celebrate you. But yeah, so all I did was like ask them the question like, hey, what kind of interest rate would turn your head? And they were like, better than I'm getting in my CD. And so I was like, cool, I could probably double or triple that. And um, so I basically just said, cool, I'll give you a fill in the blank percent on this deal. I just happen to know that my deal is producing like a 30% cash on cash return. And so in fact, here's how you do that. In fact, I remember when we had that conversation, I was thinking about something throughout the day, and I think this was it. That that so the answer to tomorrow's question is it doesn't matter. Pick a number, just as long as the number is less than what it's producing. So for example, my deal is producing a 30% cash on cash. And so I'm allowed to give away anywhere from 0 to 30% cash on cash. I could give it all away if I wanted to, but but I just pick a number and say, okay, I'm willing to give away, or actually, sorry, I ask people, what kind of a return would turn your head? I know my poker cards, you know, or what do you call it? My poker face, if you will. Like my hand, I've got 30% cash on cash. I don't tell them that. And so I keep my poker face like, okay, what kind of return would turn your head? And they're like, you know, let's say they're like, oh, like I'm getting 3% in my CD. And I was like that's what we're competing with here.
Yeah.
Like, and again, poker face, I know I'm producing 30% cash on cash. Poker face, I'm like, yeah, I think we could beat 3%. You picking up what I'm putting down here?
Yeah. So yeah, and you know that part I'm good at. Like, so my question is, I guess, so are you giving them a percentage of, you're giving them a percentage of the cash flow, is that correct?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Is there any way you could just go through an example of how you like put the numbers in? I mean,
Sure.
yeah.
If you twist my arm. All right. All right, let's do this. Now, everybody just take that with the grain of salt, if that's the proper term for this, that it is whatever you negotiate. And my favorite question is, what kind of return would turn your head? Basically, what kind of a return would turn your head so you're like, yeah, I'll pull money out of where it is and put it into something that you're doing. And if they're like, yeah, my CD is paying 3%, like, like keep your poker face on, but be like, yeah, we could beat that. Like, I'll see to it. I'll see to it that we beat that for you. Poker face. Okay, so let's pick a deal. Let's see. Da, 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 da. Let's pick. Okay, so here's the one I just wrapped up. I can't remember if I've put this one. Yeah, so this should be, in fact, here, let's see. Do I have my accurate, or is it still just the big number? Okay, so we were close. I haven't put in like the actuals, but it was better than this. So here's the deal. We just wrapped up, and this is the one I said I just finished all the refinance. So all in all, oh, just kidding, actually. I'm only two. Wait, why am I only $2,000 out of pocket? Oh, that's right. This was a really good deal, like a really good one. Okay, but still it applies. So the deal is producing 500% cash on cash return because I was out of pocket $2,200 total. When all the dust settled, I'm out of pocket $2,200. In fact, you know what? Tomorrow I'm gonna let you choose it. Do you want me to use this deal or do you want me to use a deal that's a little more like cookie cutter that because
You could use one
like,
of my deals
this is
if
like
you
a
feel
home
like
run
it.
deal.
Whatever, or whichever.
Here. All right, let's do one. Let's see. I think I know which one I'm gonna pick here. This one's good. Let's see. Out of pocket. Okay, cool. So here's one that I did earlier, and this was last year, I think. So purchased at 645,000. My client brought 136,000 down. I sold it to them for 645 plus 64,500. So I'm not a head math person. 700 some odd, low 700s. And so I refinanced. I got a loan of 513,000 after repair value. Okay, so here we go. Here's all the dust settled. I got a loan for 583,000, sorry. Paid all my costs. In fact, yeah, this one's still paid all my loan costs. And so I had to bring to the table $41,000 total. All the dust settled. In fact, did I calculate the monthly payments on this? Yeah, I did. Cool. So even counting his payments during my refinance period. So all the dust settled, I'm $41,200 out of pocket. And I'm cash flowing 1,427. So I have a 40% cash on cash. And so I've got options. I can
Sound just cut out.
Yeah, I
Yeah, I don't
can't
hear
hear him
Dane.
either.
Can't
Test.
hear you, Dan.
Nothing.
There we go. We're
You good
back.
now? Test.
Yes.
Okay, cool. I just need to not touch this thing. So, okay, so all in all, dust settled. I'm 41,900, let's call it 42,000 out of pocket, and cash flowing $1,400. So I can start breaking up this piece of the pie. I can say, okay, now again, poker face, Joe Schmo, whoever, what kind of return would turn your head? They're like, let's go a little higher. They're like, oh yeah, I'm usually making 8% in my portfolio, whatever, but it's up and down and I don't like the volatility, whatever. Let's say that, real conversations I've had. And I was like, okay, cool. Well, what if we just match the 8%, but we set it in stone, set it and forget it. So it's 8% instead of you having to worry, like stress and like, oh, is the market, like who's in office or who's making dumb decisions or whatever, is the companies that I'm lending on my mutual funds, whatever, are they making good decisions? And so it's volatile. What if we just make that set in stone secure 8%? That you're used to. Again, I'm just like giving you guys ideas. People would pay for that. Like, oh man, if you could just make, because yeah, I'm averaging 8%, but like I said, I'm stressed, or I'm like, yeah, we're up 10% in a month or whatever. But oh, we're down 8%, whatever. Instead of all the volatility, what if we just say, hey, set it and forget it, 8% guaranteed, virtually guaranteed for, this is a 30-year term. Would that turn your head? Yes or no? And let's say they just say yes. And so let's go in here and calculate that. Let's see, how can I show you guys my calculator? I think I would have to. Okay, so $42,000 times 0.08. Let's see if Google. There we go.
42,000 is how much they're putting in.
So now I technically could do more or less. It really depends on what I want. Do I want to be in this zero deals, zero money out of my own pocket? Yes, no. Or I technically could cash. I could cash out on this, and I'll show that. But let's just get our interest rate down first. So they're like, yeah, 8% is, but I just don't like the volatility. Cool. How about we just set it and forget it, 8% guaranteed? And they're like, love it, great. And you guys all get it that this is subject to conversation. Whoever you're talking to, like, just because I'm using 8% doesn't mean you go get 8%. Pay 6, pay 5, like whatever. Everything you get out of lending partners what you negotiate. Enough said. So let's just pretend that they're like, okay, yeah, we'll do 42,000 at 8%. So that's 33,360 per year. How do I divide? Divided by 12 months equals, so that's $280 a month. Did I do my math right there? Yeah, I was gonna say, that's awesome. Okay, so let's say they give me $42,000 in exchange for, basically like saying, hey, this is like a CD. You put $42,000 in, you'll make $280 per month. Compared to, and compare it to what they're making now with their 42,000. Oh yeah, so now you're like averaging $280 per month, but sometimes it's like $100 a month and sometimes it's like $300 a month, but it's just so volatile. Who knows? And so we're just going to set it in stone, $280 a month. So you have peace of mind. Sound good to you? Sound fair enough? Yeah. Okay, great. So now let's go back to our deal. Let's see right there. So we go back to our deal and say, let's see, in the closing, we're going to do this and say, $42,000. We're going to make this a negative because they give us $42,000. And so here we are where we are in this negative 76. So we're technically ahead, but let's just call it break even. So we are break even. I have $0 of my own money in this deal. None. That partner brings their $42,000. Now in the cash flow, let's call this operating expenses. The partner share, what I say, 280 bucks.
Yeah.
And so they're making their, in our example, 8% return, cash on cash return. So they they pull $42,000 out of where it is. They really just give it to me. They send it directly to my bank account. And so now I'm again reimbursed because I did have, this shows that I did have the 42,000. I used it, did the deal, and now they're reimbursing me my 42,000. And so I did a training once where I showed that you could use the same set of capital. I think in the example, I can't remember if I did 50,000 or 100,000 or something like that, but in that example, I showed how you could use the same $50,000 and do this and go and buy 20, I can't remember what it was when I did the training, 12 properties or something like that, where $50,000 and you can use that to go get 12 properties in what we're doing right now. And so in this, we technically used less than 50,000. We used 42,000. We got our 42,000 back. And let's see where the dust settled. So now we're cash flowing $1,147 instead of what it was before, like 1,400 or something like that. I can't remember what it was. But we gave away some piece of that pie. And so now my return is infinite. That partner has effectively like bought a new CD, and the CD name is 6169 Reflection Ridge. And I asked them like, okay, yeah, so you were getting like an average of $280 per month, but it's all volatile. We're going to set that in stone. So if we pull your money where it is and park it somewhere where you're going to get $280 a month guaranteed, how long do you want to receive $280 a month? Oh, forever? Coming right up. 30-year note feels like forever. So kind of. And so they say, yeah, I mean, I'll take $280 a month for as long as I can. Great. Here's the deal. And so here we are, zero money out of pocket, still cash flowing, $1,147. Like this is literally a money printing machine for me. In fact, I think I did this on this deal, if I remember right. I'll have to go back and look. But because I know I have a partner on it. But yeah. Making sense?
Yeah, absolutely. That was exactly what I was looking for.
Money printing. Never seen this house, never will. Not a landlord. If it breaks, they fix it. In fact, this house just got struck by lightning, like in July.
Wow.
They fixed it. It broke his Tesla charger, which he installed, not me. So it broke his Tesla charger. It broke like a bunch of the breakers in the electrical panel. It broke it fried the water heater, like fried the water heater. It was crazy. There was like smoke. What do you call that? Evidence or whatever, like coming out of all of the screw holes. I've never seen a water heater do that.
I'm going to say Smoke on the Water, which is a great song.
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was crazy. He fixed everything. No, we did claim insurance, but still he paid all he paid all the contractors. He took care of everything. Again, I've never seen this house. Cash flowing over $1,000 a month. No money out of pocket. This is a money printing factory. And I did it all from my little garage.
Little.
I did it out of my garage. What's that, Michael?
10,000 square foot little garage.
Okay, fine. Big garage. Touche.
In my garage, we make garages.
Are you in your garage, Daine?
I am, yeah.
Are you? Okay.
Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah,
I
That's a
got
nice garage.
I call it the man cave.
it's a real nice garage. You got RVs and dirt bikes and excavators and skid steers and snowmobiles. You
Laser
got everything.
tag.
We just need a couple more machine guns and a dartboard, and we're set.
Is it a detached or is it an attached?
It's detached.
Oh, okay.
Here, let's see. It's bigger than the house. Like the footprint is bigger than the house.
Wow.
I'm not sure if I have photos of this. Oh, let's see. Here's a photo. Share. How do I stop share? So I think I showed this before, but this was like a dream of mine once this was on my vision board to have an RV, a vehicle that seats 7, which for those who know, a Bronco only seats 5. We have a custom third row in the back of this that has racing seat belts. So this seats 7, and then we can put all kinds of dirt bikes or bikes, whatever. But so I'm sitting like right here in my little office, but this is a 3,600 square feet garage. Yeah, this is bigger than my last house actually. So 3,600 heated and cooled garage, and then I've got these big overhangs on both sides to park, all my trailers and crap. But yeah, I mean, there's tractors, excavators. We park this RV in here year round, so I never have to winterize it. Um, uh, I just bought another dirt bike, so we have 7 dirt bikes, 2 4-wheelers side by side. No, 3 4-wheelers. I mean, just all kinds of fun stuff for the family. And yeah, like Michael said, I built a garage in my garage.
Your
If I heard,
your garage is actually the size of my, STR property, although it's a 3 level, so including the basement.
yeah.
But yeah, it's a big, I guess
So
that's a big garage.
here's me pulling a garage out of my garage that I built inside the garage. My wife calls this the hog mahal. Like this is our pig shed. So I built this pig shed inside my garage and then pulled it out. I built my own dolly system that I can move it around if I want to, but anyway. And there's 1,000 gallons of fuel. So like we put on our own gas station at our house. So this is 500 gallons of diesel, 500 gallons of non-ethanol, not like race gas, but high octane gasoline. But yeah. Anyway.
That is
Yeah, so
awesome.
this is where I work. I call it the man cave or the shed or whatever you want to call it, but yeah, like sorry, this was not the intent. I did this deal from my garage. Never seen this house. Cash flowing over $1,000 a month, no money out of pocket.
Okay, so I got a future scenario. I got someone who's interested in being a money partner for this, but then they had a couple questions that I was like, how would Daine answer this? Because I know how it would be in right now or in 6 months, but the challenge is the scenario I'm running is 4 years from now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So what's happening with bond yields right now is they're going up, and that's what's dictating our interest rate on mortgages. So they're forcing the interest rate down at the Federal Reserve. So that's just going to prolong the problem. So they're going to push it down a quarter. They're going to do a quarter again in December, again sometime next year. But at some point, they won't be able to go any lower. And then they're going to have to offer higher and higher yields for people to buy their bonds. So as that goes up to 5, 6, 7, 8%, then all of a sudden the mortgage rates are going to start to follow that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Ebbs and flows. So 4 years
Yeah.
from now, okay, if interest rates go from where they're now 4 to 8, the inverse of property values is going to switch. It's going to drop property values because of affordability.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's, I mean, it's going to be freaking massive. It's called the whip, right? The whipsaw.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just doing right now this, but then in 3 years, well, actually, it's been doing that for 25 years. Anyway, we're about to have this crazy whipsaw effect. So what if 4 years from now we're lending, we're doing the Daine signature, and we have a 30% market correction. Okay, so it was a $500,000 house. Now it's a $350,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
And then they stop making the payments. Now, if you set yourself up, it was a $500,000 purchase. You added your 10% premium of $550,000.
Mm-hmm.
They brought in $100,000, so now you only have a mortgage of $450,000 on a purchase of $550,000. But now the value is only $350,000, and they stop making their payments.
Mm-hmm. So we take the house because we have to. Obviously, do all kinds of things. Like I showed you in the very first deal that we talked about that I gave them so much. I gave them so much grace. I'd probably do the same thing. Like, hey, like, let's figure this out. Like, come on, I don't want to foreclose. So do everything we possibly can to avoid foreclosure. Let's say they don't, and we just have to foreclose. Take the property back. Now, obviously, it also has a tendency to go up and down, but over the next 4 years, where are rents likely to go? Either the same or maybe more. And so worst case scenario, let's say we can't seller finance it again to a new person and still cash flow. You know, let's say it's that bad that seller finance is off the table.
All right, well, let's just keep running the numbers. So it's worth 350. You
Uh-huh.
foreclosed. We find a potential seller finance to try to redo it all over again.
Mm-hmm.
But
But
let's
it's
say,
negative cash flow because the value is lower
yeah.
and interest rates are not ideal, or interest rates are good enough, I should say, that we're not going to cash flow. I would just say turn it into a rental. Like most, if not well, all, every property I do, I look at what would it rent for. In fact, I pull 2 rental reports for every single deal I do. Hard money, contract for deed, you name it. I have those reports for where was it when we first bought the house. And I always like to make sure, okay, is it at least covering my mortgage? Bare bones rental, yes or no? And so let's say 4 years down the road, even if rents stayed stagnant, let's say rents were exactly where they were today, 4 years down the road, then, and we can't seller finance it in cash flow, just turned it into a bare bones rental. Yeah, it's not my favorite, but I'd rather do that than lose money. And so, or let's say you do get a seller finance buyer, they bring $50,000. Let's see, let's use Michael's example. Let's say they bring 20% down. The house is worth, did you say 350? So they
Yeah.
bring $70,000 down. And so let's say that by that time, my loan, it's only 4 years. And so my loan isn't super seasoned. But I could just take all that money, put it down on my loan, potentially do a reamortization. You know, some loans do this, but let's say I put all that money, all 70,000, I take all that, put that down on my loan, ask them to do, hey, will you do a one-time reamortization, drop my payment? I know that exists. Again, I'm just saying like, hey, like here's all the things we can try. So try to drop my payment and say, okay, cool. Now we're cash flowing because we dropped all that equity or all the principal. Or let's see, what else could we do?
Okay, so let's
Let's
say
say
we,
rate, let's say rates are lower than what I have now as well. Take that $70,000 down payment from the buyer, pay that down, refinance the house again myself, drop my payment. Yeah, in other words, there's options, but bare bones rents historically have never gone down for very, you know, and if they have, wasn't very long. Bare bones, we rent the house, become a landlord. Only until either values come back or rates drop or whatever. Basically, as soon as I see like, okay, numbers show that we could seller finance this again, kick the renters out, or I should say, let the renters move out when their lease is done, seller finance the house. That makes sense.
so like maximum, I guess you can't do more than 2 or else it could be perceived as a sale anyway. So rent it out for 2 years, reassess, and if rates went down or values went back, but then we'd be 6 or 7 years from now.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you have 10 properties and this happens to all 10. How do you, again, so we're at 500, you sold it for 550, but now it's only worth 350. They stopped paying, you foreclosed. Essentially, that 550 to 350 lost 200 times 10 is $2 million in equity gone.
Mm-hmm.
And
We have to turn and let's say we can't cash flow selling to a new seller finance buyer, 10 rentals.
10
Bare
rentals.
bones. 10 rentals, bare bones. 1-year leases, 2-year leases, whatever. Move-in deposit, $1,500, 1 month rent equivalent.
We just go down that route. Gotcha.
Yeah. Bare bones rental.
Okay.
We turn into Chris Wilson at
And
that
we
point.
just wait it out and
Yeah, and I can't tell you how many people I talked to that lived through 2008, basically exactly the scenario that Michael's talking about. They lived through 2008, and every one of them says the same thing. They said, my rentals saved me from bankruptcy in 2008. It was my rentals that were the only thing that ended up working through 2008. They all say the same thing. And these are like old guys, old investors that have been doing this for 30, 40 years. And they're like, yeah, they were like, oh, I lost all this equity in all these properties. And even some that they were like, yeah, I was even lending on some of these, but I turned them all into rentals, saved my bacon through 2008. And a lot of them were like, if it wasn't for those rentals, I probably would have lost everything.
because it's highly likely that this is going to happen in the next 5 years. We didn't have a correction like we normally do in these bigger waves, these decade waves, because of the pandy and then the injection of all that liquidity. So it's a can kicking, and I'm just trying to think. Trump doesn't get to run for president again, so we could likely have a complete regime change in 3 years. And what are they going to do to the banking world? They're probably going to. They got one of two options. They can nuke it in the first 6 months and then blame it on the previous president. Sound familiar? Or they can kick the can again for another 4 years. But both of those will have the same impact on us. So I think it's more of a when than an if. And even if it was a 50% correction, it'd still be the same thing. We would just build in that rents can cover it. Huh. Okay.
Bare bones. Worst case.
Such a big deal.
And I analyze every deal as if we had to rent it. Just in cases.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. All right.
Yeah,
Well,
great questions.
I think I'll get like
We could also apply the velocity banking and pay off these, mortgages, and
Yeah.
so, so we can, the more paid off property we have, the better, right?
yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, try to get out of debt on as many as you can. Like use the velocity banking mentality. Like instead of try to pay extra on like everything, like no, like pay one off and then attack the next, snowball. Pay
Yes.
one off and attack the next.
Right.
snowball.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And that's why it's best to like pay, especially for the investment property, because they're more expensive. So, for me, my house that I live in will be the last one that I would pay because,
Yeah.
I use it to leverage and stuff.
Yeah.
Cheapest money you can have. Traditional,
Exactly. Heidi says, who mows your lawn? Dude, I got the cool, I do. Because I got the coolest. It is a freaking Ferrari. In fact, it's technically called a Ferris. Full suspension, 0 turn. Like this thing is sick. I love driving this thing. So I mow my own lawn, but I did design it. Like there's no corners. Like we went through and there's like I can mow it in literally 20 minutes, and it's a big lawn. But my 9-year-old is coming of age, and so soon I'll be training him to mow that lawn. But yeah, it's such a sweet mower. Full suspension, what do they call that? Full 4-wheel independent suspension. This puppy's
you
amazing.
can mow your 40 acres lawn in 20 minutes.
Oh no, we don't mow 40 acres.
Oh, okay.
Just the house lawn.
Oh, okay.
But no, the cows mow the rest.
There you go.
Oh, leverage, baby, leverage.
But
Turn that into $10 a pound.
exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so what you're saying is full steam ahead. Great. Drop the rates, screw up the yield curve. Nobody cares. We're going to scoop up as much as we can now and be
Don't go
prudent.
do high-end properties. And if you are going to do high-end properties, so like the high-end one that I showed you guys like 2 weeks ago, I mean, it's $1 million house, but I'm getting in this house 580,000. And so I ran the math, like, okay, yeah, it would rent at five, this $1 million home, me being in at 580, sorry, me being in at 580, it would rent, and I'd be fine. Worst case scenario. But
Okay.
but if they ask for cash out or whatever, like, oh, Daine, you like doing a 20% down, like, will you cash out and get us up to 800,000 on this $1 million home? No, sorry. I'll stick to the 580. And so, because I run every deal as if I was to keep it as a rental.
Right.
Worst case scenario. But
Awesome. Okay. Well, let's go and get some.
love it.
Thank you.
Coolio.
Yeah,
Great
thank you for
questions.
your
I hope we
time.
got to everybody. I know I saw a few raised hands, but I think we got to everybody.
I think so too.
Great questions. So cool. Thanks,
All
guys.
right, folks. A couple more weeks, we'll be at the E3, and we'll get this recording up for the team channel. Remember to tell everyone not just what you're doing, but to join you in the program and make a difference in their lives as well. Think about how much more fun this call would be with another 50, 100 new students going out there chasing their dreams and making it real. So
100%.
thanks again, Daine, Tamara, Gilda, everybody for hosting, paying attention. Corinne, Ada, great to see you. Heidi, all of you, Steve. And we'll see you guys for another episode next week. Stay focused on your mission. Go to your meetings this week and eat some good food. Get outside. Bye, everyone.
See you guys.
And bring guests.
Great conversation. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, Daine.